Buras, and this is my Finance 452 project on the Hayward Gibbs portfolio evaluation. This is the portfolio that we use at our school. I will be changing the weights of it to get a higher return and a lower beta for the portfolio. So when looking at the companies, we see that we have AT&T, Bristol, CenterPoint Energy Incorporated, Cisco Systems, Comcast Corporation, Energy Corporation, ExxonMobil, Home Depot, International Business Machines, Johnson & Johnson, Krispy Kreme Donuts, Pfizer Incorporated, Qualcomm Incorporated, SAP CSHS, Texas Instruments, Tyson Foods Incorporated, Verizon Communications Company, and 3M Company. Now, when looking at my company's monthly return, yearly return, variance, and standard deviation, all of them are pretty close except for Krispy Kreme Donuts, who had a return monthly of 4.33%, a return yearly of 51.91%, a variance of 2.10%, and a standard deviation of 14.50%. As you can see in the efficient frontier, like I said, these companies are pretty close together. But out here is Krispy Kreme Donuts, who I said had my highest return and my highest standard deviation. Now, when looking at the correlation coefficient, we can see that my highest is AT&T and Verizon at 0.675, and my lowest is Energy and Krispy Kreme Donuts at negative 0.21688. I chose how I was going to distribute my weights by my Sharpe ratio, which is taking the yearly return, divided it by standard deviation. I ranked this from the highest to the lowest, with the highest being Home Depot and the lowest being Energy. Also, my highest beta is Krispy Kreme Donuts, who had a beta of 2.75, and my lowest beta is Tyson, who had a beta of 0.17. Now, when calculating the weights, my highest weights were Johnson & Johnson at 30.72% and Home Depot at 20.56%, and my lowest was CenterPoint Energy at 0.43% and AT&T at 0.09%. When finding the portfolio return and the risk measured by beta, the return on the portfolio yearly was 16.23%, and beta was 1.03665274. What I did to change the weights, for AT&T, I took out 0.02%, which gave them 0.07%. For Bristol, I took out 2.60%, which gave them 5.49%. For CenterPoint Energy, I took out 0.23%, which gave them 0.20%. For Cisco, I took out 0.54%, which gave them 0.82%. For Comcast, I put in 6.26%, which gave them 6.77%. For Energy, I took out 1.10%, which gave them 1.04%. For ExxonMobil, I took out 3.20%, which gave them 5.85%. For Home Depot, I put in 6.20%. Even though they already had a higher rank, I put more weight to them, so they ended up being 26.76%. This is because of what they've done and what I keep expecting them to keep doing. IBM I took out 3.03%, which gave them 4.04%. Johnson & Johnson, I took out 15%, which gave them 15.72%. This way I can distribute some more weight towards these other good companies. For Krispy Kreme Donuts, I took out 0.28% to give them 0.20%. The reason why I lowered their weight is because they had a really high beta and a really high standard deviation, making them very risky. For Pfizer Incorporated, I put in 3.48% to give them 6.63%. For Qualcomm, I took out 0.60% to give them 1.22%. For SAP CSHS, I took out 0.45% to give them 0.40%. For For Texas Instruments, I put in 0.20% to give them 8.05%. For Tyson, I put in 5.51% to give them 7.96%. For Verizon, I took out 0.20% to give them 0.32%. And for 3M, I put in 0.60% to give them 8.65%. Now, after doing all this and keeping the same companies, my portfolio's beta and standard deviation after I changed the weights, the return on the portfolio yearly was 19.58%, which is higher, which now the return is higher, and the beta is now lower at 0.9962162262. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.